I want to talk about solar-powered cars and the viability and feasibility. So I've always been interested in solar-powered cars and, of course, solar power in general. And they are definitely here. There are automobiles that are solar-powered that exist in the world that are um, either in the process of being manufactured or ready for sale. It's said and done. I'm going to tell you about my research. First of all, they do require batteries. The batteries are expensive. Solar panels, not so much. The batteries could cost $2,000 to $4,000 per vehicle. And the panels are really not that expensive. There's three different types of panels. There's going to be a paint, a solar-powered paint that you spray onto the vehicle, which is not widely used or widely known about. There is another type of way to do it that conforms to the shape of the car. I guess it's a flexible panel, and you can put it all over the car, and it's got like a black color, and it doesn't really reflect very much, so it doesn't annoy people. So you could have the entire car covered, the sides, the rear, the front, the top, and you're not going to get all those weird sunlight reflections. And then there's the other type of panel where it's just a flat panel and it's blue and it reflects a lot of light, and it might get in your eyes if you're driving. So there have been people who have built solar-powered cars. And you got to be careful because there's two types of solar-powered cars. There's one that actually has the ability because it has the panel on it, and then there's people who say it's solar powered because they plug it into a garage that has solar panels on the roofs. So that's one of the things you got to watch out for. There are cars like the Stella, which are not really passenger cars, and it's not like a traditional car. It's an experimental car, something that no consumer would ever buy. But there are actual passenger cars that are consumer ready that have solar power capabilities. With some cars that are already on the market, there are solar panels on the roof, and they give the car a little bit extra electricity. And the amount of extra electricity is not enough to make the car move forward, but it's used for the electronic components within the car, like the air conditioner and rolling up and down the windows and the radio and things like that. There are companies that are saying that they are going to have solar-powered cars available in the future. There are companies that will take something like a Prius, a battery-powered vehicle, and they will convert it to a solar-powered vehicle. In some cases, they do have to put in their own batteries. It's kind of expensive. And they put a panel on top, and they don't really do the whole car. They just do part of the car. One of the issues with solar power is that you can't drive forever on solar power with a passenger car. There was this one vehicle that was done that could do, I believe it was 12 miles per day. And you have to have a full charge. So if the car is going to have sunlight and you're going to be able to park it in a great spot, then and if you're going 30 to 50 miles per day, you're going to get 20 to 25% of your driving on solar power with this technology. And if you're spending, is it like $2,000 a year on gas, then you're going to save $400 or $500. But if it costs $4,000 to put the batteries in and the solar panels, then it takes 5, 6, 7 years to break even. So it's only good if it adds value to your car for what do they call it? Not the depreciation, the resale value of the car. There are foreign companies, you don't see this in the United States, that have made cars that have solar panels on every available part of the car. The entire body of the car is covered. And they look just like regular passenger cars, and they don't reflect the light so it blinds you or anything like that. There's a Chinese company that does it, and there might be a Swedish company that does it. There might even be more than one Chinese car that is doing it. And I'm pretty sure that these things are ready to go. They've at least got prototypes, and they've driven them and tested them, etc. I don't have any data about how far they will go. I've seen videos in Chinese about these vehicles. They're not well known, and they're not going to. These companies, in order to produce them, you need a big plant. Costs a lot of money to make a manufacturing plant, so they need to earn money before they can mass produce. They have to have investment and things like that. So it's going to be a while before you'll be able to buy one of these. And we have no further information as to whether or not these vehicles have a gas engine. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'm going to guess that if it was done well, that they do. So the other thing that I learned is that it's really, really impractical to have a solar-powered car. It doesn't make sense for someone to make them. The major manufacturers are not going to make them for a variety of reasons. Even if you could cover the whole car, which you can, or use a solar-powered paint and everything, it's not enough to meet the average consumer's needs. And when you look at the cost and how many years it takes to break even, it's not something that is cost efficient. Gasoline is cheaper. And when you run out of oil and you switch to E85, that's still going to be cheaper than solar power. And when you look at the efficiency of solar panels, they're like 25% efficient. And it hasn't really changed that much. It's not like it's gone from 2% to 5% to 25% and it's going to be 50% soon. Don't expect that. The future of solar panels is not going to be that it's efficient enough for you to have a solar-powered passenger car that's viable. I work at home, so I don't drive very far. So for someone like me, I'm the exception. I could get away with it, but I only drive the car once a week, and I don't go very far. So unfortunately, it's not viable. And even if we did have them, and you decided, well, okay, I'm gonna do it for ideological reasons, you got to live in the South where it's sunny. In New York, it is cloudy at least 50% of the year, and I know a building that had solar panels that they spent millions of dollars on because they wanted to do it for ideological reasons, and everyone in the town complains about how it doesn't work all the time. They complain about it all the time because it doesn't provide the power that was promised, and it's never sunny, etc. Never runs it. When I used to work there, and I used to look at they have a machine that you could go look at, and it never ran at full capacity. It was always 20% capacity. So sadly, solar-powered cars are not going to be available for you to purchase in the next decade, and probably not in the decade after that. There is a Ford C-Max, which is a promised solar-powered vehicle. And I believe that there might be a solar-powered Prius that is for sale only in Japan. All the non-passenger cars I'm not going to get into. And then you got people that made their own. But I really wouldn't, I'm talking about consumer cars. So if you have any questions or comments, please post below.